Hi, I'm Mary Alice. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to dive a bit into the world of EFT, or simply tapping. What is it? How does it work? And what does the research actually say about it? So let's find out together. And if you want to jump ahead, you can click into the comments below and find some timestamps to jump ahead to the other questions. So EFT, or Emotional Freedom Technique, is a form of psychological acupressure. It involves tapping on specific meridian points on the body while focusing on a particular issue or emotion. This technique is known to help reduce anxiety, release emotional blockages, release trauma, promote healing. Wait though, what's a meridian point? Right. So think of these as the same ones used in acupuncture or acupressure, often called a pressure point. But they use many more of the pressure points along our body, and we stick to the upper body, predominantly the face. Also, instead of using needles, EFT uses gentle tapping with just the fingertips, whatever you're most comfortable with. And this method combines the principles of acupuncture with modern psychology to address both physical and emotional issues. So here's how we'll do the active tapping in the videos you'll find on my channel. First, we identify the issue, focusing on a specific problem or limiting belief or emotion or memory that you want to address, something that you want to heal, a goal you want to see through, or perhaps a combination of memories that have to do with an issue. Plus, all the emotions attached to that one or those multiple memories, or just an emotion on its own. So you don't know why you're very sad. You don't know why you have so much rage at the moment, but you know you have it. So in addition to an emotion like that, it could be a fear of spiders or swimming. Maybe you're fine swimming, but the idea of being on open water scares you and your whole family wants to go on a cruise and you keep saying no. So it's all of the emotions, such as anxiety, shame, grief, anger, anything that comes with the thought of that fear, or if it's a memory or a set of memories, if it's the emotions behind that self-limiting belief or negative belief you have in yourself, or you don't think you have emotions with it, you just know for sure I have this negative belief. I can't do whatever this is, or I'm not worth whatever this is. Maybe it's a set of memories, for instance, say to do with being bullied as a child at school, or feeling intimidated and diminished as an adult at work, or both of those, so it's been an ongoing thing. Or say you hate public speaking. You know that big jumble of memories of freezing up every time you've been in front of a group, plus the emotions, the fear, and the insecurity before you had to speak, and then the embarrassment while you are speaking or afterwards because you feel like you let yourself down or your team down. All of that, plus the general feeling of fear of having to ever publicly speak again in the future, even if you don't have a date scheduled that you have to do it. And that could be whether it's in front of a crowd of 500 people or just the idea of the 5 of you in a weekly team meeting in a closed room sitting at a table. It's all a fear, and they're valid, and the more clear you are on the issue and your belief around it or your memories or the emotions, the easier and faster we can tap it away, even if all you can focus on is the feeling itself. That's great, that's fine. So social anxiety, school test fears, weight loss, fitness breakthroughs, imposter syndrome, fear of failure, fear of success. Basically, if a memory or emotion exists that bothers you or holds you back, you can tap on it. So now we have our issue. Let's go to rating the intensity. So on a scale of 0 to 10, we rate the feeling that we have about this issue. 1 is where we want to be. It doesn't bother me at all, or it's barely noticeable. 10 is the worst that it gets. It actually hijacks my entire day. It causes panic attacks. I freeze up. As a side note, think about keeping a journal or creating a spreadsheet or getting a journaling app on your phone so you can see over time how many issues you clear out. At the very least, if you don't want to keep a record of this, write it down on a piece of paper for today so that you can at least see how the issue decreases. If not over time in a journal or an app, you see it's decreased, each time you go through a round today. If it's a complex issue, it can require sometimes numerous tapping sessions. So that's how journaling is a great way to keep notes for yourself. Also on other issues that may come up that you want to tap on later. So we're tapping on one thing and we think, oh, I didn't really think about that, or yeah, that kind of bothers me too. And we can write that down and see if after the tapping that's cleared itself away, or now we need to do a session on that. So we have our issue identified. We rated the intensity. Now we create a setup statement. Something like, even though I feel anxious about this job interview, I deeply and completely accept myself. So we will repeat this setup statement because this tapping session is going to be on, say, job interviews, and we repeat that setup statement a few times. Then as we tap along the different meridian points, we add in statements about other negative feelings or memories or triggers about this job interview. Then we continue tapping and follow up with positive statements, positive goals, positive emotions that we want to evolve towards. So that's when we finally get to the tapping sequence. Although, of course, all this goes much faster now that you know how to do it, or you'll just follow along with my videos. And a quick note, you can just leave me comments and let me know if there's something you would like a tapping script on, and I will put one together and put a video out. So we have our issue identified. We rated the intensity 1 to 10. We created our setup statement. We created our follow-up statements, and now we finally tap. So we combine the statements with tapping on these pressure points. The first is the side of the hand. It's called a karate chop. And either side, either hand is fine, whatever you're most comfortable with. Most people use their dominant or writing hand. I most often do this, but sometimes I just feel like my left hand is the side that needs to help or needs to be cleared. The left hand simply needs to be the one doing the tapping. So however you might feel it, honor that feeling within yourself when it comes to self-healing, when it comes to things like tapping. Once in a blue moon, I will tap with both hands, but that's rare for me. I may do a different video on that another day. So we say our setup statement with the karate chop, and we usually do that 3 or 4 times. Then we move on to a constant circle of the rest of the meridian points. Okay, we start here at the eyebrow, here at the beginning of the eyebrow. Either side again is fine. So above the nose, beginning of the eyebrow. Then we move to the side of your eyebrow, the side of the eye on the bone here, outside the eye. And sometimes my temple aches and I need to adjust to a very soft, very gentle, or I even have to move off the ache, move around it a little bit. Sometimes I feel that a little extra oomph kind of directly onto the sensitive area. It actually feels best. So again, listen to your body and your intuition to find what release you need. Then we move to under the eye. So it's on the bone under the eye here. And it's along that half moon circle that's under our eye. Anywhere is fine. If I don't feel anywhere sensitive, I just tend to tap back and forth. You'll find a lot of people tend to tap closer to the nose here. If I notice a specific spot is sensitive, I tap there. Not too harshly. Remember, nice and slow. So this sensitivity could happen on any of the tapping points, and most likely by the end of the session, it'll be less sensitive. So then we move to under the nose. And so it's between the nose and the upper lip here. Then we move to the chin, so between your lower lip and your chin. Then we move to just below or on the collarbone, and that'll be somewhere between your chin and your ear, along that kind of moon shape that's maybe there. And I most often notice either my eye or my collarbone that I have a sensitive spot. So like the eye, tap there if it's sensitive. Not too hard. Remember, just nice and slow. So there are two other spots you'll notice other tappers use. One is under the arm, about 4 inches below the armpit here. And the other is the top of the head, like right in the crown of your head. So I don't use these often. I rarely use them. I just find them to be very sensitive, or moving to my underarm when I'm in the middle of thinking and moving along and maybe feeling emotions. It just distracts me and it annoys me, and I feel like it takes me out of the sort of zone that I'm in. So I don't usually use them. But if you find them helpful for you, definitely add them in. Sometimes I'll tap on my head without planning on it. I just assume that is where I really need, and I go with it. So again, trust your intuition when it comes to tapping. As we tap, remember to breathe deeply. And I know it is super annoying to have someone tell you when you're already upset to calm down or relax or take a deep breath, but there is sound scientific reasoning for this. Physically, psychologically, physiologically, when we breathe deeply, our body relaxes. That allows us to calm down and to get to a state where we can remain calm. If you tense every single muscle in your body and then take deep breaths and keep breathing deeply, you will feel your fingers or your thighs relax. It is physiologically impossible to remain tense and breathe deeply at the same time. Whereas if we are breathing quickly and erratically, then that's when we're in the middle of a fight mode. And that's definitely what emotions and memories can do to us. And that's what we don't want when we're trying to heal. We want to be calm. We want to be open-minded. We want to be in a kind of fix-it mode. So the more that you can breathe deeply and tap extra slow, almost super exaggerate it, and focus on your breathing. Focus on those two things first. If you find yourself agitated by emotions, overwhelmed, angry, because you'll find yourself, you start to tap faster, So really slow yourself down. Deep, slow breaths. Slow, steady taps. What we're doing is trying to interrupt that pattern of every time you think of this emotion, or every time you think of that goal, or this upcoming event, all these negative emotions flood you. And we want to make it so that you still have the memory. We don't want to erase memories. That's your history. It's your life. But we don't want it to affect us negatively anymore. We still might have a bit of apprehension, but we want to get to the point that we have brought all that apprehension down as much as possible. And then on top of it, we begin to put in, because we're now not as apprehensive, we're in a state of mind where we can put in positive thoughts and positive responses, so the apprehension completely goes away and we're okay with the idea of this upcoming event, or now we're motivated towards this goal. So that's what tapping does. It fixes a response. It breaks a pattern. It basically is a pattern interrupt. Okay, so then what about the words? Right, so as we tap, you'll repeat after me. If there's a word you really dislike, it just doesn't fit for you, it doesn't fit your issue, it isn't your style of speech, that's okay. You can change it to whatever you want. You can cuss if you want to. I will most likely not be cursing on this channel, but you can, if it's fine, feel free to change it to whatever your real emotions and your real thoughts are. If I say something that doesn't apply to you, but you don't care or mind one way or the other, then just say it anyway. Sometimes on some level we can feel some kind of way without even realizing it. And the tapping and the talking speaks to parts of us that need a bit of help. We weren't even aware needed help. So again, if you hit a point of agitation or being so overwhelmed with emotion, and it's hard to tap and relax and breathe deep and repeat my words, just tap, exaggerated slow taps, and listen and breathe. Just breathe through the emotions and tap and tap and tap. And then when you can, think the words that I'm saying. Just tap and think them after me and breathe deep. And then when you can, repeat the words out loud. If you're tapping somewhere public, and so you're tapping maybe a little discreetly, saying the words in your head is fine, but out loud whenever possible is just another layer of healing reinforcement. So when the tapping ends, reassess the intensity. You rate the intensity of your feelings again on that scale of 1 to 10 to see if it's changed, and mark this down in your journal or app, or if you're just keeping notes for just today on your piece of paper. Sometimes a single tapping session will break a pattern or emotional response completely. Sometimes it takes a few sessions. You may only go down a number or two at a time, 10 to 9 or 4 to 3. Some issues are very stubborn like that. Or sometimes we're not using quite the right statements, or we need to adjust some wording, or we need to add in a few different or new statements with each session. Sometimes we're re-triggered by something that has happened around us, or maybe the thing or the person has done it again, or we're working on one healing issue and it brings up pieces of something we thought we had totally under control. Turns out we didn't. And so what was a 0, the number creeps up a little bit, and that's okay. Healing works like that. It's a process. But tapping can be a powerful tool that you can use multiple times a day. It can sometimes instantly, many times, if it's something small enough, but just aggravating enough to want to tap on it, it can neutralize it in just one tapping session. If you have time to do 2 or 3 sessions in a row and you're in a stubborn issue, do that. If you find it all a bit overwhelming and need a break, try another session at lunch or before you go to bed tonight. You can tap anywhere you need to. In the shower, while you're watching the water boil for dinner, in the bathroom at work or school before a big meeting or a test, to calm the nerves and calm the anxiety and give yourself some positive reinforcement statements. You can do it in your car or on the bus or train on your commute home. If it's something that's very emotional and agitating, probably not if you're the one driving. But if you're stuck in gridlock traffic and that is just anxiety to the nth degree, or aggravating you, or really making you angry, you can tap that out. So at first you may feel a bit odd doing it in public, but you begin to find that because you know how well it works, you either don't care what other people think, or you're able to tap in such a discreet kind of way that it's fine for you to be doing it in public. You may just do sort of gentle, and then you just say the words in your head, or you have earbuds in so it just looks like you're singing along to whatever songs, playing in Spotify or whatever. So basically just know that tapping is always there to support you. So, but why does EFT work? The theory is that tapping on these meridian points while focusing on the negative emotion helps to rewire the brain's response to stress. So let's delve a bit deeper into the science behind it. Has EFT been studied? Yes, there have been several studies on its effectiveness. Research has shown that EFT can reduce symptoms of anxiety, depression, PTSD, even physical pain. And I'll put the links to the articles that I've mentioned here down in the comments below. For example, a study published in the Journal of Nervous and Mental Disease found that EFT significantly reduced anxiety in participants. One of the key areas involved is the amygdala, which is the part of the brain that triggers our fight or flight response. When we're stressed or anxious, the amygdala becomes highly active. And tapping is believed to calm the amygdala, reducing its activity and thereby lowering stress levels and responses. Tapping can also promote neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to form new neural connections. So think of like any mammal, whether that's a little kid or we're training a puppy. We're adults, but we are still those same animals. We still have those same animal responses to things. So when we teach our kids or our dogs and we have that whatever your noise or your sound is, that constantly when we hear it, we know to look up, and we see puppies and kids look around and look for what they're doing, and then they rethink it and what else should I be doing instead. And what happens with the neuroplasticity and forming those new neural connections is that by combining the tapping with focusing on a specific emotional issue, we're creating new, healthier patterns of thoughts and behavior. We're interrupting that negative pattern and putting in a new one, a pattern interrupt. So research has also suggested that EFT can lower cortisol levels. Cortisol is often called the stress hormone, and high levels of it are linked to various health issues. You've probably seen commercials and ads and about all kinds of things with cortisol on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. So a study published in the Journal of Nervous and Mental Disease found that EFT significantly reduced cortisol levels in participants. And that again highlights tapping as a stress reducing effect. That is just not trying to come out correctly, is it? So to sum it up, EFT is simple, non-invasive. Many people find it helpful for managing stress, emotional issues. It can reduce cortisol and cortisol effects. And so while research is needed to fully understand all of its mechanisms, the existing studies are very promising. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you're notified when I put out my new tapping videos. Check out my other videos to tap along with me. Let me know in the comments if there's something specific you'd like me to tap on, or if you have more questions about tapping that you'd like future videos on that explain or delve more into it. And lastly, remember that while tapping can be a helpful tool for managing stress and emotions and creating new healthy patterns, it's essential to listen to your body and your mind. If you find yourself struggling with overwhelming feelings or persistent issues, it's beneficial to speak with a licensed therapist or counselor in your area. I'm here to share techniques that have helped me and many other people for years, but someone who can get to know you over the course of numerous sessions personally can provide personalized support and guidance tailored to your specific needs. Never hesitate to reach out to qualified professionals who can help you on your journey to emotional well-being. Check out my other videos. Thanks for watching along. I'm sending you blessings and joy, and I hope to see you again later.